How's it going, peeps? ProPlanty here. Gonna be talking about Gigantamax in this vlog. There's gonna be a lot of talking. I want to share my first impressions, my thoughts on the feature. It's Sunday, and yesterday I went out and tried to do some Gigantamax battles. So about a week ago, I was umming and ahhing about whether or not I was gonna dabble in this content. You guys know I'm a rural player. It's usually just me, myself, and I. Sometimes the alt, remote raiders. For the most part, the only battles I can do are solo or duo friendly ones. And anything that we can remote raid is fine. I realized very quickly when doing Dynamax T3 battles that, Gigantamax are going to be tough. I'm going to need a lot of people, but not 20, not 30 plus trainers. It was Friday, the day before Gigantamax drops, and I started hearing people talk about meeting up. So I thought, oh my gosh, I might hit up this community. It's about 30-40 minute drive. Depends if you get stuck behind caravans and horse floats, slow trucks, slow drivers. But I've made this trip for elite raids in the past, EX raids back in the day, you know. I feel like we lost a lot of that momentum when they just stopped doing EX raids. And how often do we get elite raids? Like, you lose these people very quickly if there isn't a sort of gathering at least once a month. Like, when did we last get elite raids? We had the Rayquaza one and that was a mess. Regardless, it was locked in. I was either going to film or stream some yesterday. And then I woke up Saturday morning and all I could hear were New Zealand trainers telling the rest of the world, yo, we can't beat this Blastoise with 30 accounts. We failed a Charizard with 25 people. Venusaur, too hard? Not to mention a ton of bugs and glitches. Morale was low. I think a lot of people decided then and there that they weren't going to bother. Why would you when you're hearing that you need that many people? But a few trainers persevered, including myself. Let's at least give it a shot. So I traveled out for this, full well knowing what I was getting myself into, potentially. I met up with about 10 trainers, and a few of them had alts. So that's actually one thing I want to point out. When you hear someone say they didn't beat it with 20 trainers or 30 trainers, they haven't given you all the statistics, all the context, because a lot of these accounts are using Wooloo or Scorbunny or a Charmeleon. Like, you need really good counters here. It's just not that simple, you know? Like, everyone is at a different place with this game. Dynamax content released, just under 2 months ago? That's still pretty new in the grand scheme of things. I'm gonna throw up some gameplay here. My Venusaur battle, I screen recorded it. Basically, if we could beat this, I was gonna start streaming and do more of them. But I didn't want to really start a random stream, fail, everyone's upset, and that's a bust, you know? So the battle, we tried a Venusaur, whether or not you think or know if it's the easiest one of the three or the hardest one. Going in pretty blind here, yeah. Things were looking pretty It's a slow fight, right? It's a slow battle. Yeah. If you really want to speed things up on every Dynamax turn, you need to take the offense and not the defense. But you'll find that you probably need to heal because this boss is destroying your Pokemon. We had a few accounts, a few trainers at the start going, oh no, I've lost my first Pokemon. And I'm just thinking, what are you using? Because my Pokemon are fine, you know? So with this first battle, we were really spamming the heal. Dynamax turn would just keep healing. And I was at a point where I was laughing. I'm like, I'm still on my first Charizard. It just won't faint. You guys keep healing it. I keep healing it. This is looking really good. Got him to the yellow zone. And I didn't really notice, but a message popped up. It said, Venusaur is getting desperate. And I wasn't quite sure what that meant. But we found out the hard way. Out of nowhere, this battle just took a turn for the worst. I really thought we were going to win. No, Venusaur one-shot our Pokemon. It just came out of nowhere. And then I remembered, if you take too long in one of these Dynamax battles, the Pokemon gets desperate and pretty much kicks you out effectively. I heard stories that Beldum did it to trainers in the T3 battles, like a solo. This typically happens if you spend all your turns healing, as opposed to taking an offensive approach. You need to find a bit of balance there, right? Especially if you're doing a solo, you don't have the luxury of time. Yeah, it's a bit of a dilemma, huh? My jaw honestly dropped. I was like, oh, this is what everyone's talking about. This is why you need more trainers. And if you don't have more trainers, you need to have the best counters to make up for it. Yeah? And again, this feature is 2 months old. We're all honestly noobs when it comes to Dynamax. I think about it. I'm using a Charizard. It's fine, but I'd love to use like a Heatran or a Reshiram or something a little stronger. A legendary? No, can't. Not yet. It reminds me of 2017 when Lugia first appeared in raids. I was there. You needed 15 to 20 accounts. It was a tanky boss. None of us had the stuff we have in 2024. And now you can beat a Lugia with a lot less trainers. It's not as simple as, you can't beat this with 30. You can. You can beat it with a lot less. I think in time, in the future, you'll be able to beat these bosses with a lot less accounts. But are people going to invest into it? That is the ultimate question, because I know a lot of people don't. They don't want to invest into this. They don't see the point in it. Yeah? I personally liked a bit of a refresh, a restart. I was appreciating the more simpler times here. Like, I've got a Charizard, and a Venusaur, and just got a Score Bunny. That's cute. Like, these will be good counters. We just smashed out some Ghastly and got a really nice Ghost-type counter, Gengar. It feels like 2016, 2017 again. I like that, in a way. So, we attempted a round 2, yeah? We had to change our strategy. We realized that Venusaur was getting desperate, one-shotting our Pokemon. Maybe we need to prepare with some guards and make sure our Pokemon are fully healed, yeah? We do the same thing. We're tapping. It's so much tapping. I don't like how much tapping is involved here. These take way too long, and I think they need to be scaled back, you know? When Venusaur got desperate this time, on my Dynamax turn, guarded up 3 times, and I was fully healed, ready for the impact that was about to come. One shot. Doesn't matter. The game is kicking you out after about 5 minutes, I think. I was under the impression that these battles were not timed. It was about skill, strategy, keeping your Pokemon alive. And I feel like the game just cheats if you take too long. Despite doing everything right there, it goes, nah, you're taking too long, we're going to kick you, you lost. It doesn't feel right to me. I look at what we did, and I feel like we did absolutely nothing wrong. We all showed up, a big group of people. We stayed alive, healed, people that fainted cheered on. We were taking the offense when it was safe. And the game goes, no, You took too long. And the only way to remedy that situation is by having more people there. It's just this paywall of people. No, you don't have enough people to do this one. You're taking too long, despite surviving the battle and it looking promising. You need more people. 15 accounts in 2024 in person, to me, is an incredible amount of trainers. Again, as a rural player, it's just me, myself, and I. So, this is massive. And you're telling me we need more, or we need better counters to make up for it? We're just not ready for that, you know? This is something we have to invest in and come back into in about 6 months to a year to really stand a chance in smaller groups. Oh, it would be nice to have these Gigantamax Pokemon as counters, because they're a lot better, you know? I'll actually show you my Pokemon, my Dynamax Pokemon, just to show you what I've got. I've spent so much dust and candy. I have the luxury of XL candy because I've attended Com Days, Spotlight Hours, Com Day Classics. I've been here since 2016. A lot of people haven't. I look at my collection here. I did nothing wrong, folks. I went out, I met up with a bunch of trainers, we did our best, and it wasn't enough. We needed more people, or the people that were there, including myself, we needed to power up our Pokemon way more to beat one of these things. As you can see, my Venusaur are not great, yeah? But I've got some candy there. Their max moves, I'm really struggling, because I'm trying not to spend heaps of money on this. My Venusaur are not ready. Charizard has been an incredible investment, beating the Beldums, etc. As you can see there, fully maxed out. He's at the point where he needs XL candy. Don't really want to do that just yet. I know a lot of people don't want to invest in these Pokemon because they're just okay 3 stars. They're waiting for that never a hundo or hundo, then it'll be worthwhile. I honestly want to get a Gigantamax Charizard and invest in that, not one of these. You know, he's already been outclassed in a way. These are okay. I've hesitantly powered them up and done everything for them. They are fantastic. I still have so much more candy, and I can even dabble in rare candy if I have to. But this is all a luxury. Not everyone is in a position like me here where they've got this stuff. I'm currently doing Blastoise. Getting there, you know, not incredible. Haven't even tried with Gengar. It's expensive. Beldum, Metagross, I spent so much to get these going. Look how beefy they are. Look at their max Mindstorm, you know? I'm getting there. I would like to think these are some pretty rock solid counters, but they could definitely be better, hey. I said to one of the trainers, wow, thank you so much for persevering here, because I would have given up after the first attempt. Some of these folks were determined to win, you know? We sat around, made a few phone calls, tried to get more people out, but it just was not happening. The longer we sat around, you know, people started drifting apart. Nah, I gotta go, sorry, you know, this just isn't working out. I was at that point as well. We gave it one last shot. Yeah. We realized we had to beat Venusaur before he got desperate, which means we had to take a more offensive approach. We need one healer, and then we need everyone taking the offense. And oh boy, it went down so much faster. Venusaur got desperate again, and we lost. Didn't bother with Blastoise, didn't bother with Charizard. Maybe we would have had an easier time. I have no idea. Everyone at that point gave up. We split up, parted ways. And it was really, really sad. It wasn't fun. We all went home empty-handed. I had just made a huge trip this way. I'm going back home with a bit of a story, you know. But that's that. We have Gigantamax Gengar coming for Halloween, and I'm not going to do it. I think I want this content to cook a little longer. I want better counters. I want the people that I'm going to raid with to have better counters, because we're not ready if we are to do this in a small group of 15 players. Come on. I would love for them to scale it back a notch, but there are some players in the city that made this work. They got the numbers. I think it would have been a lot of people with alts. Dare I say spoofers as well. But a lot of legit trainers, absolutely. People have made this work. They have beat the boss. They have caught the boss. Some even pulled shinies. And I think to Niantic, that's a huge success. Did I say earlier that GoFest, even this wild area event in November, they'll do Gigantamax, and there'll be mobs of people out, and it will be a huge successful content piece, feature. It'll be fabulous. I think Niantic wanted this. They wanted a challenge. They wanted 30, 40 people out battling like the good old days. Why would they make this any easier? We got to a point with regular raids where, you can like solo duo some of this stuff. That's not what Niantic want. They're going to make sure it doesn't happen a second time, So in the end, gave it our best shot. I'm incredibly frustrated. It was a frustrating day. I didn't like how upset everyone was. Most people, just all over social media, including myself. I was very frustrated and annoyed. I didn't like that the boss gets desperate and you get timed out for a battle that initially didn't seem like it was timed, but it totally is. If you take longer than about 5 minutes, you get kicked out. You need more people or stronger counters. It saddens me. This is just more content that I can't really participate, or it's a huge struggle and I'm just not enjoying the experience. I gave up on shadow raids for similar reasons. They were buggy. I would use my purified gems and then the raid would crash and you don't get them back. Like, so lame. And this is the same. You need a heap of people, and I'm absolutely dreaming if I'm going to make that happen here where I live. It's not going to happen, folks. Years of playing in this town. There's no one else. No one else plays here. Campfire didn't change things. The flare system doesn't help. I have got people playing this game and then they lose interest. Like, this is unfortunately where we're at. Folks, thank you so much for listening. Those were my first impressions. That's how it played out for me. I'm happy that I gave it a shot. I will not kick myself for that. The team I was with did incredible. I think 10 accounts is a big ask. I think that's incredible numbers. I really think if we invest into this, but I know a lot of people probably won't after this. If we do invest into it, 10 accounts could probably do it one day, The Gigantamax Pokemon sort of remind me of Galarian birds right now. They're so unattainable. Well, I mean, we have Master Balls now, but there was a point in time where it was like everyone was talking about Galarian birds. How do we get one? They're so rare. You want it because you can't have it. It's really hard to get. And I'm sort of feeling that with Gigantamax. It's like, I want these things, but they're so hard to get. And I think there's a line that you can cross where you just don't care anymore. Niantic, you have to be careful here. People will stop caring if you make it too ridiculous and absurd. I personally hate having to rely on others to produce this content, to shiny hunt, to, I would prefer if I could just do this stuff by myself. Or at the very least, call up backup remote raiders. I love that feature so much. It saddens me that Niantic were onto something great there and then did a full 180 and I'm back here talking about how I can't beat a boss. Sucks. It really does. I've always enjoyed raiding. What a bummer. Gosh, that was a lot of talking. Thank you so much for listening. And we're not going to end on a bummer. Yeah. I went home later that day, and then later that night I went to bed. It was about 11 p.m. at night. We do have one here. I had a Zorua. Yeah. And I have screen recorded all my Zorua checks. He's got the shiny boost. I would love one. You know where I'm going with this, right? I actually got a shiny Zorua. I couldn't believe it. What about this one here? Nah, regular. Well, let me put the screen record up. It actually sparkled, folks. I think about how my day played out, and I may not have ended up with the shiny Zorua if I didn't go do the Gigantamax and come home and all that nonsense, you know, butterfly effect, blah, blah, blah. I will absolutely take this. Isn't he gorgeous? I have not checked a crazy amount of these, so feeling pretty lucky. How is everyone else going with the shiny Zorua hunt? I am so stoked with that. That was so cool. A pleasant surprise for sure. As for Gigantamax, yeah, you probably won't hear from me for a while. Is it Toxtricity that's coming for that event in November? There'll be people out for that. It might be possible. We need better counters if we're going to do these in smaller groups, and that takes time. I think Niantic have to really look at this. There's a fine line between fun and frustrating. Yeah. A lot of us just want to catch them all. It's fun. I really did not expect them to be the challenge that they are, but I realize we don't have the greatest of counters. I'll see ya in the next one. Thank you so much for listening again. Thank you so much for watching. That's about it from me. Yeah. Gmax Dex. Looking pretty sad. But whoa, that shiny Zorua was so damn good.